Hey, this is Ms. Cooper here. We're at week 10. This is your commentary video talking about religion in South Asia, the Iran-Iraq war, challenges in new African nations, and challenges in Latin America. 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? So, in terms of religion in South Asia, in India, the Sikkim, or the place that's called Sikkim, they primarily practice Hinduism. Okay, that's the population in India, and this is an area called Sikkim, okay, or Sikkim. And then in Pakistan and Bangladesh, they're primarily Muslim. In the East Punjab, they're primarily Sikh. Sikh is a branch of Islam. In Nepal, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, Jammu, and Kashmir, they're primarily Buddhist. Okay, so you have Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, and Buddhist. Those are the 1, 2, 3, 4 major religions in South Asia. The Iran-Iraq war talks about religious disputes which caused Iran and Iraq to have uneasy relations. Iranians are mostly Shia Muslims, while the Iraqis under Hussein were mostly Sunni Muslims. In 1980, this is very important, Iraq under Saddam Hussein launched a brutal war against Iran. During the war, children were used to clear dangerous minefields. Is that not crazy? Yeah, Saddam Hussein, keep that name in mind. Hussein used poisonous gas against soldiers and civilians, especially the Kurds. In 1988, Iran and Iraq signed a ceasefire, but the issues of the war were left unresolved. Remember what happened with World War I? Okay, issues of the war unresolved. We've yet to get to World War II. We're almost there, but when issues are unresolved, that usually, brings us to a sequel. Challenges in new African nations. We have dependence on exports such as rubber or oil. There was a dependence on foreign investment, using natural resources for uses other than building a foundation for an industrial economy. Okay, this is how you have problems. Droughts and population growth were slowing economic growth and taxing resources. Poverty was widespread among rural and urban dwellers. Sanitation and transportation systems were overwhelmed by massive slums. These are challenges in new African nations, trying to be independent, but you're dependent on somebody. It's difficult to say you're independent and grown, but you need someone to take care of you. Grown folks take care of their own folks. Make sure you understand that. Challenges in Latin America. So there are 3 parts to this. There's Mexico, Central America, and South America. In Mexico, the Mexican Revolution in the early 1900s created political stability that lasted for many years. At the end of the 1960s, student protests against the one-party government led to change. In the late 1970s, new oil reserves were discovered, which led the government to become more dependent on revenue from foreign oil sales. Then President Carlos Salinas de Gortari began working with the United States to form NAFTA, North Atlantic Free Trade Agreement, which went into effect in 1994. In Central America in 1954, with support from the United States, Jacobo Arbenz of Guatemala was overthrown. El Salvador was rocked by a bitter civil war in the late 1970s and the 1980s. A peace settlement ended the war in El Salvador in 1992. The Somoza family, who used murder and torture to silence those who opposed them, controlled Nicaragua for 43 years. They were supported by the United States for most of this period. The United States supported the Contras against the Sandinistas due to their alignment with the Soviet Union. So we move into this era where we're not trusting the Soviet Union and we're not trusting communist regimes. In South America, Salvador Allende, a Marxist, became president of Chile in 1970. Military forces led by General Augusto Pinochet killed Allende in 1973 and set up a dictatorship. The Pinochet regime was one of the most brutal in Chile's history. Pinochet finally lost in 1989 in free presidential elections. In 1946, Juan Perón was elected president of Argentina, and along with his wife, Eva Perón, brought many social reforms to Argentina. Perón was overthrown in 1955, and democracy was not restored until 1983. 2 major drug cartels formed in Colombia, and it soon became the major cocaine supplier of the international drug market. So that's what was going on in Latin America. So this is your week 10 commentary video. Please make sure you pay attention to names, pay attention to those religions and what countries those religions are in. Pay attention to what was going on in Iran and Iraq, that man, Saddam Hussein, okay? The names from Mexico, Central America, and South America. Be familiar with those names and some of the activities involved.